Hello, athletes. Welcome and thank you for tuning into the Coach Katie Danger podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your host, Coach Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran, fitness coach, and founder of Red H Nutrition. Here's a fact for you. 99% of us are not elite athletes. We're individuals from all backgrounds, juggling life's priorities, including jobs, our families, their needs, and trying to find time to take care of ourselves. Every single week when you tune in, I'll be discussing clear, concise, and actionable strategies you can use to get the most from your fitness, nutrition, and mindset so you can optimize your life without compromising your time. So athletes, settle in and get comfortable. I'm here to educate, inspire, empower, and entertain you to help you enjoy the unique fitness journey that you are on. Hey, athletes, welcome to episode number 65 of the Coach Katie Danger podcast. How have you been since the last time we chatted? For this episode, I'm going to make it all about you. I'm not going to talk anything about myself to get started because I'm here to talk about your goals and how you can overcome feelings of frustration and setback. How are your goals going? How are they progressing from week to week, from day to day? And maybe you're on a longer journey than others and you're on a journey that might take you years. But nonetheless, do you have a plan and are you working that plan? So I saw an Instagram post over the weekend and it mentioned that there's just one big difference between the people that reach their goals and the people that don't. And it is the ability to be flexible when things don't go as planned. So instead of giving up and quitting, you recognize where you're at. You ask yourself, what is working and what's not? And then you just ask yourself, what's next? What else can I be doing? It's not always about trying harder and just grinding to grind. I really get kind of irritated at this mentality, like just go harder, just try harder. Because that is not the case. I'm sure you're all trying very, very hard what you're doing right now. So chances are something has been working for you. You may feel frustrated. You may feel like you're stuck, but there's something that's been working, even just a little bit. But you might still be frustrated because things don't seem to be working. They don't seem to be moving along like you think they should be. Maybe you feel stalled. Maybe you feel inadequate. But whatever you're feeling, it is valid, and I hear you. This isn't supposed to be easy. The fact that it is hard right now also doesn't mean that it has to be miserable, nor make you feel miserable. I know we aren't butterflies, but as we progress on our journeys and we go through a certain metamorphosis, we kind of can compare ourselves to what happens from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So let me break it down for you. I'm sure you all know what metamorphosis is, but hey, just let me talk it over because you will see exactly how this relates to you and the journey that you're in right now. This little caterpillar comes along, and he or she feels like they're ready for their big change. They find a place they feel comfortable and safe, and they start the process of changing from a caterpillar into this beautiful butterfly. So the caterpillar goes, finds a place, it creates its cocoon, and it gets really comfortable. Now, you can't really see what's changing. Like, we don't look inside the cocoon, at least with the eyes that we have. We're not scientists. We're not, X-ray visioning through the cocoon and seeing how it's happening, but things are working. Things are going on behind the scenes. The caterpillar is trusting this process. So things are changing, work is being done. But for a while, it just looks really blah. It's just this cocoon, like, what's going on back there, whatever. It's nothing beautiful. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing that you're going to put on your Instagram feed, or it's nothing the caterpillar is going to put on its Instagram feed. But with a little bit of trust and a little bit of patience, the work is being done and the results are going to pay off. And then eventually it does. This little caterpillar, what once was a little caterpillar, he's got big dreams and hopes of being a butterfly. And finally, it emerges from its cocoon that they built and it's ready to fly. And it's completely transformed. Now, when we compare the caterpillar and the butterfly side by side, it's really hard to believe that they are the same creature. It's hard to look at that butterfly and go, wow, I can't believe it was like this little worm looking thing before. And eventually, if you stick with something long enough, you're going to look back on your own journey. You're like, wow, I can't believe I was that person, or I can't believe how far that I have come. And it is essentially the same analogy. You're going to start out small. You're going to start out like the caterpillar. You're going to have big dreams. You're going to have big hopes. And sometimes it's not going to go as planned. Now, sometimes the caterpillar finds out that the place they chose to start their cocoon wasn't the most optimal. Now, luckily, unlike the caterpillar, we don't learn a lesson necessarily the hard way and like get eaten by another bug or another animal and then have to start our life journey all over again. The great thing for us is that with a proper mindset in place and the processes that we know will work, you can do anything. You can do anything that you set your mind to, but the process matters. And being flexible in that process is how you overcome the challenges that will undoubtedly come your way. Challenges are going to come your way. And it is, can I be flexible? Can you be flexible and adapt instead of just throwing your hands up and quitting? I love nature. I love animals. If you know anything about me, you know that I love guinea pigs very, very much. And the great thing about animals is that I'm kind of jealous about is they don't have a prefrontal cortex. Now, I know being human is kind of awesome, but we overthink things. We let our egos get in the way. Whereas animals, like if they lose a limb or if a door closes, they just adapt. They keep going. They don't let their emotions get them trapped into negative thoughts. And they certainly don't think that they're on top of the world and ain't nothing going to touch them. I love being human. I love that our advanced brain is the way that it is, but it gets in the way sometimes. And the good news is that doesn't mean that we can't control it, though. It just gets hard. It takes work. It takes time. And often we're going to experience failure before we ever learn to control our emotions and resulting thoughts. So if you feel like you are stuck in a pattern where nothing's going right, and you just can't seem to control your emotions, and then your emotions lead to negative thoughts, and negative thoughts lead to behaviors that aren't conducive to your goals, it's going to take some work and it's going to take some time, but you can control all of your thoughts and emotions with the right mindset. Now, if you don't like my butterfly example, here's another one for you. What about a baby learning to walk? If you're a parent or if you've just ever seen a child struggle to learn how to walk, babies don't stop trying. Like they don't stop trying to crawl. They don't stop trying to walk. They're going to fall thousands of times before they actually walk a step. And if that's not determination and adaptability, I don't know what is. And here's the cool thing. You're the same way. At one time, you were that little baby who was learning how to walk. You're the same baby who was talking and babbling unintelligibly until you uttered your first word. Maybe it was mom, maybe it was dad, maybe it was I love fitness or muscles or gains. Whatever your first word was, there was a time where you couldn't even speak. You couldn't even walk. But you're that same baby who learned how to do that. And those concepts are still within you. Like there's nothing that's changed. You're just an adult that has unfortunately probably got some maladaptive behaviors throughout the years where you get frustrated and possibly give up on what you're wanting to accomplish. That nature of adaptability, flexibility, and fearlessness is still in you. I want to reassure you that you're on the right path. If you're here, if you're listening right now, you're on the right track. It is okay to have bad thoughts. It is okay to sometimes think that you are not enough. But I want to tell you that your journey, whatever it is that you want, it is worth it. Whatever your goal is, wherever you want to go, if you stick with it, all the heartache, all the ups and downs, it is going to all be worth it. And it is like the butterfly effect. And although I just gave the analogy of the caterpillar to the butterfly and the metamorphosis that it goes through, the butterfly effect is very, very similar. And if you're unfamiliar with the term, let me summarize. It is not about the movie. The butterfly effect is based on chaos theory, and it highlights that one small action in an initial state can have profound effects on later resultant states. So what that's all saying is that every action matters. Every small action means something. Your little presence on this earth means something. So if you're here now, you matter. Your vision for the world and your life, it all means something. And the actions you take in your life will matter. They will matter. So now you're probably like, okay, how the hell do I know what actions matter and what doesn't? And that's a really, really good question because oftentimes we find ourselves spinning our wheels and not getting to where we want to go. And that's kind of where plateaus and frustration sets in. Now, I wish it was easy for me just to say that what equals a good action is something that is not a good action, but that still doesn't define what is good and what is not so good. At this point, we all know that life isn't easy. So when you're considering a next step in your journey, I do have some suggestions to help you make a decision. Hey, I know and you know that I talk a lot about using supplements on your fitness journey and reaching your full potential. How I believe they're integral pieces of the puzzle to reaching your best self and best fitness results. But do you know how supplements fit into your plan? Do you know what to take for your goals and how much of a supplement you should take? If you've ever had any of those questions and you want to know how supplements can work for you and your goals, go to yourfitnesssupplements.com and take the free 3-point personalized supplement assessment. And with just a few questions, you'll have a complete personalized supplement recommendation in less than 60 seconds. You'll know more about how supplements fit into your fitness goals, what's safe, and what's effective and perfect for you. So type in yourfitnesssupplements.com in your internet browser, take the free assessment, and get on the fast track to your best fitness results. But first, here is something that I learned in the Army that is very, very important. And I still follow this rule today. We were doing some field training exercises. And when you're learning to be an officer or really any leader of any type, they put you in charge of a small team, 6 to 7 other soldiers. And now these lessons are supposed to apply to actual wartime scenarios, but obviously we go through training exercises first where real bullets aren't flying. But nonetheless, the pressure's high because you're being judged, you're being graded. What we would do is we would get out there and we would come across enemies and we would say, okay, do we want to flank left or we want to flank right? What I would find a lot of times is, and I'm going to toot my own horn just in 1 second here, but what I would find a lot of times is a lot of my battle buddies, they just wouldn't make a decision. It was like freeze. It was fight or flight and often, or freeze. So they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't make a decision. They would just freeze. And what our leaders told us, and something I still bring with me today, is that making a decision is better than not making a decision at all. So you can either choose to continue to sit in your own shit, or you can make a decision, act as your own experiment, and try something. See if it works. Give it some time. If it doesn't, move on, try something else. But there is no harm in experimenting with yourself and the results that you want, to seeing what actions get you from point A to point B. So making the best decision for you, though, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Number one, why don't you like where you're at? What is it about where you're at right now that is leaving you frustrated? Number two, what am I doing right now that is not working? Okay, so you don't like where you're at. Now you got to ask yourself, what isn't working? Why don't I like this? Now ask yourself, what am I doing that is working? So you also are going to have things that are working for you. Whatever they may be, identify some bright spots. Find some things that are working for you and write those down. Number four, can you do more of what's working? Can you do more of what's not working? Number six, where is the gap? What skills or behaviors do you need to acquire to move further along in your journey? So you know what's working, you know what's not working, there's a gap. How do you get more? How do you produce more of what's working to get the results that you want? Brainstorm all the ideas that could help you move along your journey, no matter how silly it may seem, no matter how silly it may sound, or how obtuse and abstract it may be. Write it down. So I'm going to go through those again with you. Ask yourself these questions. Number one, why don't you like where you're at? Number two, what are you doing right now that's not working for you? Number three, and possibly more important, the most important, is what is working for you? What bright spots are there? Number four, can you do more of what's working? Number five, can you do less of what's not working? So trim the fat. If it's not working, get rid of it. Don't hang around. Don't let it hang around just because it's been there. If it's not working for you now, get rid of it. Number six, where is the gap? Where is the gap between where you want to be and where you want to go? What skills and behaviors do you still need to acquire to get to that point? And the last thing you should do is brainstorm all the ideas you have that could help you move along your journey, no matter how ridiculous, silly, or unrealistic they may be. Write it all down. So after you've identified all the things that can help you move along, what do you actually want to do? What aligns with your values and current skills? And then when you're determining, okay, what is the next step? Make sure that the next step logically falls in order with what the next thing should be. For example, you cannot run before you've learned to walk. And you cannot walk before you learn to crawl. Remember, babies, that's how it works. So think about that. What is the next logical thing after you've listed everything out? What's the next logical thing in the order to get you on moving along in your journey? The butterfly effect means tiny actions matter. And when those tiny actions are aligned with your current goals, values, and skill set, you've got yourself your recipe for success. Athletes, if you're in this for a quick fix, I'm going to disappoint you greatly, okay? There is no such thing as an overnight success. There has never been, and there never will be. Oftentimes we look at people, certain people, and we think that they've been instant successes. They went to bed one night and they woke up the next morning and they all of a sudden got 1 million followers and $1 million in their bank account. And that is just not the way that it works. What these people have done is they've done tiny things day in and day out, things that matter, things that align with their goals and values, things that are in the next logical order of progression in their journey. And when all those actions finally come together, they've been boiling for a while, they get into a tipping point and they break free. And so while it may seem like they just woke up one day and found success, I promise you there were many, many failures, hard lessons learned, and lots of tiny actions that mattered along the way. My hope with episode number 65 today is that you're going to take this podcast to heart. You're going to realize that no matter how tough the days get, putting one foot in front of the other, making a decision is still better than standing still and freezing and not making a decision at all. And when you think all hope is lost, remember that the butterfly effect is real. It is science. It is real. And in this fitness and goal setting context, it is also very real. Every action matters, so make your actions count. I want to suggest that you also throw out this timeline that you have planned for yourself. I know that when we're setting goals, there's the acronym SMART. And a lot of times that means we got to put a timeline, a timestamp on when we're going to get our goal. Very typically, somebody says, I want to lose 20 pounds in, I don't know, a month, 2 months, whatever. Let's just say it's actually a realistic time frame. The problem is, if we don't meet that time frame, we become inflexible, frustrated, and we feel like we failed. The construct of time, though, is a man-made variable anyways. Like humans, long before you and I existed, made up time to help us navigate the world. And while it is useful, it is also very, very detrimental sometimes to our behaviors and our goals and the journey that we have set out for ourselves. You don't have to put that pressure on yourself if you don't need to. You can make the choice. You can say, you know what? This is my goal. I'm going to do the best I can every single day. And when I get there, I get there. But deep within your heart and your soul, you will get there because you're committed to it. You can choose when you want to apply certain tools or not. And if you choose a timeline, it should help guide you, not paralyze you, not frustrate you. The last thing I'm going to leave you with for this episode, athletes, is a helping hand. It's free. There's no strings attached. And if you're looking for some guidance on your fitness journey and you want to know how to make the future path more clear for you and less obstructed, so you can start getting that momentum back, I want you to set up a breakthrough session with me. It's free, and all you got to do is go to talkwithcoachkatie.com. We'll spend 30 minutes together, and we're going to brainstorm all the ways that you can utilize your skills and values to get to the next step. We'll talk about what's working. We'll talk about what's not working, and I'm here to help. I'm here to help you on your journey. So set up your free breakthrough session with me, talkwithcoachkatie.com. I am here for your success. Athletes, growth and success comes to those who are patient, believe in themselves, believe in the process, and continue to evaluate the good times and the bad times. Because just as you move along and you break through that next step, doesn't mean there aren't going to be obstacles on the path. I mean, success in our journey is not linear. It does not go straight across. It goes up, it goes down. Sometimes we take a few steps back. But as long as we keep committed to our journey, you will always get from point A to point B every single time. There are no shortcuts. And if there were shortcuts, I guarantee you all those books would already be written and you wouldn't have any reason to be listening to me right now. This group wouldn't exist. No other groups would exist to help you overcome your frustrations and your obstacles. So there's no magic pill. It hasn't been invented yet. If your journey happens to be creating the magic pill, I'd love to know how that's going for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with all of that to chew on for this week. And if you need anything at all, send me an email, katie@coachkatiedanger.com. Schedule your one-on-one with me, talkwithcoachkatie.com. I'm here for you. I'm here for you one-on-one. Let's do this. And that is all for this week's episode. Number 65 is in the books. And as always, athletes, believe in yourself, trust the process, enjoy the journey, and never, ever, ever quit on yourself. This is Coach Katie D with love. Over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.